Ezekiel Castleman versus Michaela Horsler,
Judge.
Horsler. May I have an announcement of appearances, please?
May it please the court, the petitioner Ezekiel Castleman appears in person and through counsel Carol Park.
And may it please the court, Your Honor, the respondent Michaela Ausler appears in person via Zoom by and through counsel Jeffrey Harrison.
We are on for a couple of motions. The defendant has filed a motion to change venue. Plaintiff has filed a motion to complete the temporary orders hearing. We did a partial hearing on that back on October 21st. Are there any other motions pending at this time?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
And none from the respondent, Judge. And I would just note, I filed a limited entry of appearance. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm only for the purpose of litigating the venue issue.
Okay. Well, let's take up that issue first.
Okay.
Apologize to all. I'm just getting over a cold and I still don't have my full voice back yet.
I'm in the same boat, Your Honor.
Oh.
I had no voice yesterday, so I'm improving, but
that makes me the lucky one out, and I'm sorry to both of you.
Okay, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, I would go ahead and call my client, Michaela Ausler.
Ms. Ausler, will you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas?
Yes.
Are you currently in the state of Kansas?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, would you please state your name for the court, please?
Michaela Ausler.
And Judge, can you hear her okay? She's kind of quiet.
I can. She could speak a little louder, but I
can. So, Ms. Ausler, how old is your child that's subject to this case?
She is 1.
1 year old. Okay. And where was the child born at?
She was born in Hayes.
Okay. And at that time, were you residing in Hayes?
I was actually just staying there with my son's dad.
Okay. And that would be Mr. Castleman, correct?
No, Dakota Dillashaw is my father, my son's father.
Okay, so not the child subject to this court proceeding?
No.
Okay. And at that time, even though you were staying in Hayes, where was your residence at?
Florence, Kansas.
And what county is Florence, Kansas in?
Marion County.
Okay. And how long were you staying in Hayes for?
It was about like 3 or 4 months, but I wasn't always just there. I was always coming back, like it might be a week or so, and I would be staying at my grandma's in Florence, which is where I lived.
Okay. And throughout that period of time, did you hold any governmental ID, such as a driver's license?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall what was the address that was listed on your governmental ID?
604 Main Street, Florence, Kansas.
Okay. And at any time, did you ever change your residence with Department of Revenue?
No.
No. Okay. Now, over that span of time, where were you receiving your mail at?
604 Main Street, Florence, Kansas.
So Florence again. Okay. So now, how long were approximately when did you end up leaving Hayes and returning to your residence in Florence?
Probably around March. I think
so
it was like
March of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did you move back to Florence or Peabody or?
Temporarily to Florence at my grandma's. I had planned to move again.
Okay. So your grandmother, and that is that on your mom's side or your dad's side?
My mom's side.
Your mom's side. Okay. So with your mom's side of the family in Florence, where's your dad's side of the family located at?
In Peabody.
And what county is Peabody
Marion County.
Okay, so that's in Marion as well. And when you had returned to Florence, so then you moved after that, is that correct?
Yes, to Peabody. So from Florence to Peabody.
Okay, so, and then approximately when did you move to Peabody?
I've been there about 7 months, so I'm not sure what month.
Okay, fair enough. And where do you reside in Peabody?
Next to my grandma at 700 West 3rd.
Okay, so your grandmother from the other side of the family?
Yep.
Okay, so she lives in fairly close proximity to your house?
Yep, she's my neighbor.
Excellent. So do you have any intentions whatsoever of relocating and permanently setting up residence outside the county of Marion?
No.
Okay, and why is that?
My support system's there.
Okay, and where do your parents live?
My dad lives outside of Burns, which is a few miles away from.
And that's in Marion County as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, throughout the span of your relationship with Mr. Castleman, did he ever exercise visitation prior to the filing of this case?
Yeah,
Okay,
he came to Peabody to see her.
so he would come to Peabody to see you?
Mhm.
Okay, and what were those visitations primarily like?
He would stay over and.
Okay, so he stayed at your house for visitation?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, as of the current time, I know we've made some allegations within our motion for change of venue. Do you currently have transportation?
No.
Okay, and I want to kind of delve into the whole elephant in the room because I know this has been alleged in petitioner's response to our motion. So, why do you not have transportation?
I was in a car accident.
Okay, and what kind of car were you in?
I was in a truck.
Okay, and that was your truck?
That actually wasn't even mine. It was my grandma's,
Okay,
my dad's side. So.
okay, so it was a loaner vehicle?
Yep.
Okay, and approximately when did that occur?
That happened the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay, and was the vehicle totaled?
Yeah, it's nothing left. It caught on fire.
Okay, do you have any other form of transportation
No.
at this time? No?
I do not.
But are you currently looking for new transportation?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So as far as now, I don't want to get off into the weeds, but I want to keep it directly related to this. So I know you previously appeared before this court and the court had entered some orders regarding custody and visitation. How have you been conducting parental time trade-offs without transportation?
Zeke always offered to come to Peabody to get her.
Okay.
We had met in Salina a couple of times, but he always was, I'll come to you, I can come get her.
Okay. So he's cognizant of the fact that you don't have transportation?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as of your knowledge of Mr. Castleman, where does Mr. Castleman reside?
In Russell.
And that's in Russell County, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, who does he work for?
I'm not sure the name of the company, but he works for the oil field in Hayes.
Okay, so he works in the oil field.
Mhm.
So, are you in regular communication with Mr. Castleman?
Yeah.
Okay. And has he indicated to you, since this case was filed, where his general whereabouts have been?
Yeah, he's been in Nebraska quite a bit.
Okay. And has that been kind of a daily sort of thing to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Okay. And that's based on what he's told you?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, when he exercises visitation, do you think, is it your understanding that's performed in Russell County?
Yes.
Okay. So ultimately, what is your primary request of this court? All right, so why specifically are you wanting venue changed from Ellis County to Marion County?
Because I don't have transportation to get to and from, and it would be more convenient for me and my, our child to get to Marion County for court.
Okay,
Right.
and now, since you've been in regular communication with Mr. Castleman, has he ever indicated to you whether or not he would be permanently residing in Ellis or Russell County?
He has sent me a few messages saying that he will be moving back around here in March, and
Okay,
he has a house and everything already from his aunt, is what he told me.
okay, so here in about 60 days.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, as far as in the event that the court were to require that you take part in any sort of mediation or anything within Ellis County, would you easily be able to attend any sort of child custody investigations or anything in Ellis County?
No.
Okay. And I want to go to your financial resources. So who are you currently working for?
For Salem Home in Hillsborough.
Salem Home? Okay. And what kind of employer are they?
They're a nursing home. I'm a CNA.
Okay, so you're CNA. How many hours a week do you work?
36.
36. And I'm guessing you're paid hourly, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How much do you make an hour at that job?
$20 an hour.
$20. Do you have, now granted, I know tax time is coming up. Do you have any overall estimate as to what your yearly income would be as far as
I don't.
an estimate? Okay.
I don't.
Okay. Okay, so, and then as far as any other finances that would give you the capability for easy travel, do you have a checking and savings account?
I have a checking account, but it's not very
How much do you have in your checking account?
negative.
Okay, so you're currently working on getting the bank squared?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are you between paychecks at the moment?
Yes. I am.
Okay. Do you have any savings accounts?
No.
Okay. Do you have any IRAs, annuities, CDs, any other financial resources at your disposal other than your regular income?
No, I don't.
Okay. Now, in your discussions with Mr. Castleman, has he ever stated what his regular presence is in Ellis County?
No, actually, he hasn't.
Okay.
He just is. I just know his shop is there.
Okay. Okay. And Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time for Ms. Ausler. Thank you.
You have cross-examination, Ms. Park?
Yes. Ms. Ausler, you testified that you stayed in Hayes for about 3 to 4 months. Is that correct?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, and you were staying with the father of your other child. Is that right?
Yes.
What is
Yes.
that person's name?
Dakota Dillashaw.
Okay, and where does Mr. Dillashaw reside now?
Marion County Jail.
He's incarcerated, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you also stated that Mr. Harrison asked you where your parents reside, and I know you testified that your dad resides in Peabody, correct?
Yes.
Or Burns, Kansas, excuse me.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Burns. My bad.
Okay. Where does your mother reside?
Topeka Corrections Facility. She's in prison.
Okay, so she's also incarcerated.
Yep.
Okay, so in the 3 to 4 months that you were living in Hayes, what was your support system then?
That's why I moved back, because my support system is in Marion County.
And those are your grandparents and your father?
Yes.
Okay, but they were still in Marion County when you resided in Hayes for 3 to 4 months, right?
I didn't really reside there.
Okay, when you stayed in Hayes for 3 to 4 months, your grandparents and your father were in Marion County, is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And you went back and forth. You went back and forth between Hayes and Marion County, is that right?
yes,
Okay. And you also testified that when Zeke had visitations with Aspen prior to the filing of this action, that he would come to Peabody to stay with you. Is that right?
yes.
Okay. Did he ask you if he could take Aspen home for visitations?
No,
Did you ever allow him to take Aspen anywhere other than Marion County during those times?
no,
Okay. Aspen was born in January of 2024, is that right?
yes,
And at the time of her birth, you knew that Zeke was her father, correct?
yep, yes.
And when was the first time you allowed Zeke to have contact with Aspen?
She was 8 months old.
Okay, so you had 8 months during which you could have filed a paternity action in Marion County, is that correct?
Yes, I guess,
Okay, but you did not.
yes.
You've hired counsel, and where is your counsel located?
In Newton,
How far is that from Peabody?
like 15 miles.
Okay, did you drive there?
I found a ride.
Okay, and who gave you a ride?
My dad,
Okay, and he's your support system. You've already said that, right?
yep, yes,
Okay. So if hearings in this matter could be conducted by Zoom and you have a support system that can transport you the 15 miles to Newton to meet with your lawyer, how is that inconvenient for you?
it's inconvenient for them because they also have jobs and they've had to take off work to get me here. But since it's court, they were willing to do so.
Okay. And you work 36 hours a week in your job.
Yes.
When was the last time you worked?
Wait, what day is it? On Tuesday.
Okay, so that's January 14th.
Mhm.
At one point in time, did you tell Mr. Castleman that you were working your 36 hours over the weekends?
I never once said that.
Okay, so what days of the week do you normally work?
I don't have a set in stone schedule. I work every other weekend.
Okay. So what days are you scheduled to work this week?
I work again on Saturday and then Sunday. And then not again until Friday, I think, or Thursday or something like that. Thursday and
Okay.
Friday.
So you don't have work responsibilities during the Monday through Friday work week unless you schedule that for yourself, is that right?
No, that's not true. They schedule me during the week too, but I work 12-hour shifts, so I only work like 3 days a week.
Okay,
So every other weekend and whatever they put me on the schedule.
okay. Um, you also testified about your financial situation. You said your checking account was negative, correct?
At the moment, yes.
Okay, but you were able to hire counsel.
Yep.
How were you able to do that when you don't have financial resources?
My support system helped me.
Okay,
I,
so you had a family member pay for the attorney?
yep.
Okay. You also testified that you would not be able to participate in mediation in Ellis County because of the distance, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything that prevents you from participating in mediation by Zoom?
No,
Do you have internet capabilities at your home?
I do.
And do you have a device capable of running a Zoom hearing or a meeting?
Yep, yes,
Okay. You were present in court in Ellis County on October 21st, I believe. Is that right?
yes,
Okay. And you drove yourself that day,
yes.
correct? Okay. And during the hearing that was conducted on October 21st, you did not object to venue in Ellis County, did you?
I didn't have an attorney and I didn't know what I was allowed to ask for and what not to. I don't know about
So is
this
that a yes
stuff.
or a no?
No, I did not.
Okay. And you participated in that hearing. The judge spoke to you and you answered him, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And do you recall there being a discussion about whether the next hearing, which was originally set for January 6th, whether that was going to be conducted in person or via Zoom?
yes, I remember that.
Okay. And do you recall the judge asking you whether or not it would be more convenient for you to do that by Zoom?
I do.
And you responded that you would be able to come in person, right?
Yes,
Okay. But at least at that time, you knew the court was open to Zoom and had offered that to you, right?
yes.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the accident that you mentioned earlier. Your Honor, I would offer Petitioner's Exhibit 9.
And Judge, I'll just let you know, I just got these exhibits about 15 minutes before the court hearing. I haven't had a full chance to go through those yet.
Court received those at 9:11 this morning. Obviously, the court has not looked at them either. So now, having said that, Mr. Harrison, are you objecting to her utilizing exhibits?
So long as they're appropriately introduced, I don't have an objection.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I share my screen and I'll inquire of the witness about the exhibit?
You may.
Ms. Ausler, are you able to see the exhibit, Petitioner's Exhibit 9A, page 1 that I've put on the screen here?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. And what is that a picture of to your knowledge?
That is my vehicle that I was loaned to drive.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
That was my vehicle that my grandma had loaned me to drive.
Okay. And that's a photograph of the vehicle at the time of the accident, correct?
Yes, it is.
And were these, well, let's start with this photograph, for example. Was this photograph posted on social media?
It was.
And was that made public?
It was posted by quite a few people, so.
It
I
was
assume-
easily accessible to the public. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to turn to page 2 here. Is that another photo of your vehicle at the time of the crash?
Yes.
Okay. And how about this one?
Yes.
And this one?
And
Yes.
Judge, I'm gonna have to object on the grounds of relevance.
What's the relevance of the wreck regarding venue, Ms. Park?
Well, Your Honor, as I argued in my response and objection, the police reports from the crash indicate that Ms. Ausler was driving under the influence of alcohol, and that the reason, I mean, she's asking the court to change venue because she lacks transportation. And so, Your Honor, our argument is that the reason she lacks transportation is because she made poor choices that were unsafe and caused this wreck.
Okay. How do the photographs add to the fact that she had a wreck?
Well, Your Honor, it shows the severity of the wreck, and it just goes to the argument that Ms. Ausler's choices were very poor at the time. She had passengers, not only a friend and the friend's child, but also her own son were in the vehicle with her at the time while she was driving under the influence.
And Judge, she's never been criminally charged for this, and I think the court can take notice of that. I've reviewed it through Odyssey. No charges have been filed.
Okay. Court understands she had a wreck. She's no longer has transportation.
I'll move on then, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Ms. Ausler, were you ingesting alcohol at the time you drove that vehicle when you had the wreck?
No,
And did you tell anyone that you were?
no,
Was your son restrained in his car seat at the time of the wreck?
yes,
Did you tell Mr. Castleman that your son was not restrained in his car seat and that he was attempting to crawl out of the vehicle?
he was attempting to crawl out of the vehicle. Somehow he slid out.
Even though you claim he was properly restrained?
And Judge, again, I'm going to renew my relevance objection. This doesn't go to venue.
And Ms. Park, again, the court understands she doesn't have transportation. For what limited purpose that plays into the venue question? What's the relevance of delving into the specifics around that?
Well, Your Honor, I'll move on from that. I cannot, your audio became really garbled there for a second. I don't know if anyone else heard that.
I'll try again. I apologize.
I think it's an audio issue, Judge. I think it's maybe a bad microphone connection or something.
Can you hear me speaking now?
Perfect.
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay.
Much better.
The court understands she doesn't have transportation for what limited purpose that has regarding venue. I don't understand the relevance of getting into the specifics of the accident that caused the lack of transportation as that pertains to the question of venue. Now, it might pertain to other issues, but right now we're only dealing with the issue of venue.
No other questions?
Mr. Harrison, do you have any redirect?
Your Honor, just real quick, as far as when Mr. Castleman was regularly coming to Peabody for visitation, why did you not allow him to take the child out of the county during visitation?
He only met her like 4 times.
Okay, so he hadn't had any sort of long-term history with the child at that point.
No,
Okay. To your knowledge, had he had any children previous to this child?
he, not biologically, he,
Okay. So based on your knowledge and the relationship that you had with him, did he seem to be able to have a firm grasp and understanding of early childhood development?
no,
So that was your primary concern, was that he's a new father.
right.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any recross?
Ms. Ausler, he had asked you for access to the child prior to the first time he met her 8 months after her birth, had he not?
There was a no contact order.
But had he requested contact with Aspen before the 8 months, that 8 month time frame when you allowed her to see him?
Yes, but there was a no contact order.
Okay, and there was not a no contact order between Zeke and Aspen, was there?
No,
Okay, and so even though he had asked to see Aspen, you refused to allow that, correct?
yes,
Okay. And so that's the reason that at 8 months old, he had only met her 4 times. Correct?
Yeah.
Because that's all you would allow.
Yes.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
You have additional witnesses, Mr. Harrison.
Your Honor, at this time, I would call Mr. Castleman.
Mr. Castleman, will you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
Yes.
Thank you. And you're currently in the state of Kansas.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Castleman.
Good morning.
Where do you currently reside at, Mr. Castleman?
1612 North Elm Street, Russell, Kansas.
And that's in Russell County, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you resided in Russell?
A year would be on March 24th. March
Okay.
26th, actually.
And what line of work are you in, Mr. Castleman?
I am in the oil field, sir.
Oh, okay. And what kind of job do you fulfill within the oil field?
I'm a floor hand, so I'm a producer. I make the wells work.
Okay. So do you regularly go out and check on wells or?
No, I do the work. I pull the pipe, I pull the rods, and anything that comes with the unit, work-wise, like the labor.
Okay. So you're kind of involved in drilling then.
Yes, I've
Okay.
done drilling for a little bit. There's a difference between drilling and then pulling unit. There's a difference.
Okay. So and what company do you work for, sir?
I work for Murphy Drilling, but Murphy owns Hurricane, so I actually work for Hurricane Services, but Murphy is the headquarters of Hurricane Services.
So Murphin owns Hurricane, and is Hurricane just what's the primary difference between Murphin and Hurricane?
Primary difference is there's really no difference. It's just there's a drilling side and then there's a pulling unit side.
Okay.
And then Murphin, it's just like they own multiple companies. I mean,
Okay.
it's just
Okay. So they're essentially an umbrella type corporation
Yes.
with a lot of companies under them. Okay. And so here currently, where have you been working for Hurricane?
currently, right now I am, I think, in Herding, Nebraska.
Okay.
Herndon, Nebraska.
Is that kind of out in western Nebraska?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And what's your overall job schedule like, Mr. Castleman?
I don't have a set schedule, but since we are slow at the moment, I mean, I'm usually home by 5 or 6.
Okay. So you leave Russell approximately what time in the morning?
It just depends.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll leave at 4:30. Sometimes I'll leave at 8 o'clock. It just depends on the job and where it's at.
Okay. So basically you travel from your home in Russell straight to the job site
No.
in Nebraska?
No, I travel from Russell, Kansas to Hayes, Kansas to our shop in Hayes, Kansas. And
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're okay.
So when you get to the shop in Hayes, essentially is that to meet up with the rest of your crew for the day's travels?
Yes, and pick up supplies we need.
Okay. And from the time you reach the company until you leave to head out to the job site, approximately how long are you at that location?
At that location, about an hour.
Okay. And how many days a week do you work usually?
5 days a week.
Okay. So why did you choose Ellis County to litigate this case when you're there about 5 hours a week?
Why? Because I live in Russell and I work in Hayes.
Well, it sounds like you're working in Nebraska. I mean, you're there 5 hours a week, correct?
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. But that is only I'm not in Nebraska 24, I'm not in Nebraska month by month. It just depends on the job and where the job's located. I don't just work in Nebraska all the time. Like
Okay. But for the
just the other day, I picked up a job 10 miles from Russell. Just the other day. It just depends on the job, and yeah, it just depends.
okay.
Not in Nebraska all the time.
Now, wouldn't it have been easier for you to now? I kind of want to drill down on this. Originally, and I know you probably filed this case because you wanted time with your child. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now, when you were first going to visit your child, were you regularly going to Peabody for those visits?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any sort of history in this part of the state?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did you used to live there or?
I mean, I went to school in Peabody.
Okay.
I've worked around Peabody. I know a lot of people in Peabody.
Okay. Do you have family in the Peabody area?
Nope.
No? Okay. Now, as far as intention to remain, okay. So you've lived in Russell for about a year now.
Yeah.
Do you have any intention of moving from Russell in the future?
I did, and then I've decided work has been very exceptional to me, and stuff like that. So I am not going to move. Um, I am actually wanting to get my CDL and become an operator up here because that's what it was offered. So I am not looking to move.
Okay. So as part of that CDL job, you'd be traveling then, right?
No, not necessarily. Like I said, it just depends on the job.
Okay. So the job takes you wherever the job may take you.
It can take me in my backyard in Russell, Kansas, or it could take me,
To Louisiana.
yeah, to Louisiana. It just depends. And I also have a say if I want to go, I don't want to go.
Okay. Now, when did you reach this conclusion that you didn't want to move?
About a month ago.
Okay.
Almost a month ago.
So, would you say early December?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Now, do you
After
recall?
after my mom died, I really wanted to move because I got offered a house. So honestly, it's probably been less than a month since I've decided not to move.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now, right before Christmas, now you've regularly been in communication with Ms. Orsler by primarily text message, is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Now, do you recall ever sending a text message to Ms. Orsler on or about somewhere around December 21st, 2024 at 6:45 p.m.? Essentially, it would have been, are you going to show up or sign the papers that were sent to you? Mind you, we can be done with the courts if you just sign. And also, I'm moving in closer in March. Just curious. I don't care what you do. It's all in your hands. I'm ready for whatever, though. FYI, not trying to be a dick, just trying to have a serious conversation. Also, Aspen is shit 4 times today and it's been green as fuck. I don't know if that's normal or not. Do you recall sending that text message?
Yes.
Okay. So why did you communicate that intention that you were going to move?
Because honestly, I wanted to move, and that's it. I wanted to move, but I changed my mind. I'm not going to move. I
Okay,
got offered. The only reason I want to move is because I want to be closer to Aspen, because this whole situation, the reason we're going to court and everything like that is because Michaela does not want the distance thing. And that's the only reason I was gonna move. But
okay. Now, as far as Ellis County, why did you choose Ellis County for this action instead of Russell?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay. What additional ties do you have outside of work with Hayes?
what additional times?
Correct.
My friends.
Okay. Do you have family in that area?
I don't have any family.
No family at all.
No.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Are your parents deceased?
I was adopted. My adopted mom just passed away.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Do you have any grandparents that are still alive that you
I
have
do
ties
have
to?
grandparents. I have 5 sisters, but they are currently over 4.5 hours away. They live in Missouri. So
Oh, they're in Missouri.
yeah.
Cheaper cost of living, I can't blame them. So, do you regularly go back and see your family in Missouri at all?
No.
Okay. Do you have any ties to them other the
I mean,
random Merry
through
Christmas? Okay.
texting and stuff, but that's it.
Okay. All right. Now, do you reside with anybody in your home in Russell, Kansas?
Yes.
And who do you reside with?
Olivia, my girlfriend,
What's the last name?
in love.
And where does she work at?
Shorts Enterprise. Is that it?
Where's that at?
Hey, Candace.
Okay. And what kind of work is she in?
I think she's like a paralegal or something.
For your attorney?
Yes.
So, with your girlfriend working for your attorney, is that the primary reason you chose Ellis County for venue?
No.
Was it a substantial consideration?
It was a thought.
Did she encourage you to file
No.
in Ellis?
No.
And as far as financing of the action, have you received any additional financing from her for the filing of this action?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm not sure who her is.
That would be from the girlfriend Olivia, Judge.
No. And again, what's the relevance of this?
Well, Your Honor, I just thought that the door was open since my client was questioned on financing, but actually I'm going to move on for the sake of brevity, since we're only handling venue here. Mr. Castleman, do you have the capability of attending Zoom court hearings on a regular basis?
I mean, I can, but I mean, I can also have transportation so I can show up for court. Either or works.
Okay. And so would you have any objection to attending a Zoom court hearing out of Marion County, Kansas?
I mean, no, but I'm already here, so I don't understand.
Well, so and your child is primarily located in Marion County, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, would it make more sense to primarily litigate the action where the child is?
I mean, in a sense, yes.
Okay.
I know.
What are your overt objections to transfer a venue to Marion County?
It would just be an inconvenience for me. I would have to take time out of my day. And I also know that I've missed out on my child for this long, and I also know that there are going to be multiple things that are going to be harder because Marion County does not have the information that Ellis does on me in this situation. And I just feel like everything is just going to be, I'm just going to lose more time of not seeing my daughter if it were to get transferred to Marion County.
How would you lose more time if it's transferred to a different venue?
Because I know how court works and I have not seen my daughter for almost 2 weeks now. So it's just in general, everything
Now,
is.
Now, I wanted to drill down on one thing real quick. You had stated that you would end up taking more time out of your day for Marion County, but aren't you already taking time out of your day, and you would be anyway if it was Ellis County?
Yes, but I can turn around and go right back to work after this conversation is done.
Well, essentially, if this was Marion County, couldn't you attend Zoom from your work location, even if you're in Nebraska?
No, Nebraska has bad
That's
service.
not allowed. Does your employer not allow that?
Oh, no, he allows it. I'm just saying I cannot do a Zoom call out on location
Why is that?
because of the service.
Okay. And as far as would you have any objections working as far as child custody is concerned through the Community Mediation Center out of North Newton as part of essentially it's as part of the North or the 9th Judicial District here in Newton, but usually the 8th District in Marion County utilizes that Community Mediation Center. Would you have any objections to going through that center for mediating out a parenting time agreement?
Yes,
And why is that?
because none of I just would like time with my daughter. That's all I want. I don't want to go through any of this or anything like that. Just want it to be able to be set in stone. We had an agreement before and it's not being followed. And
No.
I just don't understand why we can't continue the agreement and continue on with the lives. And
Now, you're aware that in the event that a case is transferred, usually the court's going to hold the temporary orders in effect until it's transferred to the new court, correct?
correct.
Okay.
And I understand our temporary orders are already and like they're already happening, but they have not been followed.
So
Followed.
So ultimately, I want to try and figure out, do you have an overall concern that Marion County is not going to grant you parenting time?
Yes.
Why is that? I just want to try and understand your timidity on this.
Because they do not have the information or anything.
What information?
Like just the parenting plan, the court that's going on, everything is going to be switched up.
But those are in court filings that are transferred.
Okay, and I also know it's going to take time to do that. And I'm not, and it's just, yeah.
Well, and you're aware that a change of venue usually consists of one judge calling the other judge, and the filings make it over usually within about 24 to 48 hours, right?
Correct.
Okay. So essentially, you're concerned about the delay in time of 24 to 48 hours.
Yes, and I'm also concerned on things that have not been followed already. And considering it's going to be in Marion County and everything like that, I know she's also, I personally feel like, I don't know if this is the truth or not, but I personally feel like she wants to say, and when I can see my kid and when I cannot see my kid, even if there's a court agreement, because it's already happened.
Well, and you're aware that you can file a contempt action in any proceeding before the court in any county, correct?
I also already have counsel, and I would have to re-get counsel and everything.
Is there a reason Ms. Park would not be willing to represent you online through the Marion County District Court?
I mean, I'm sure she could, but it's just
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Do you have any cross-examination, Ms. Park?
Mr. Castleman, you testified that you work for Hurricane Services, is that correct?
Yes,
And your testimony was that you come to Hayes to the shop at the beginning of your workday every day.
yes,
Do you also return to Hayes at the end of your workday every day?
yes,
Okay, so it's not just an hour at the beginning of your shift that you're in Hayes, is that right?
correct,
You come back at the end of your shift.
yes.
And I guess one of the questions you were asked was about Herndon. Is Herndon in Nebraska or is it actually in Kansas?
It's actually in Kansas. They say Nebraska, but it's actually in Kansas.
It's right on the border, right?
It's literally like a 2.5-hour drive.
Right, so it's within a couple hours from Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, is that where the majority of your jobs are, within a couple of hours from Hayes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes, but like I said, it's just
Could be
depends.
further out, but the
Yeah.
majority of them are relatively close.
Mhm.
Okay. And that you don't stay overnight anywhere that you work.
No.
You always come to Hayes at the beginning and return to Hayes at the end.
Yes.
Okay. So leaving for work early in the morning, like you testified, are you in Russell County during the work day normally?
No. Yeah. Sometimes.
Okay, if you're there working?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you're not at home during like business hours?
No. No.
You're in Hayes at the beginning and end of the workday and then whatever job site you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you were also asked about your family connections, friends and family, things like that. And you testify that your adopted mom passed away recently, is that correct?
Yes.
When was that?
Like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't remember exactly.
Very recently.
Yes.
Okay. You also testify that you reside in your home, you reside with your girlfriend, Olivia Enlow.
Yes.
Okay. And who else resides there with you?
Her daughter.
And what's her first name?
Graceland G. Enlow.
Graceland Enlow. And Olivia's family are all in Hayes, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who are her parents?
Jane and Roy Enlow.
So Jane and Roy reside in Hayes, and Olivia is in Hayes for work, correct? Where does Graceland go to school?
In Hayes.
Okay, so Olivia and Graceland are in Hayes every day, just like you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do her parents assist with childcare?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So Graceland is in Hayes quite a bit with her grandparents and your girlfriend, Olivia.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also testified you have friends in Hayes as well.
Yes.
Okay. And are those people your support system rather than your family?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And those are primarily all in Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You also testified that you had contemplated moving to Marion County,
Yes.
correct? And that you decided against it.
Yes.
You talked about your job having some more opportunities for you that you were interested in pursuing. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And one of those was to possibly get your CDL.
Yes.
And would you still work for Hurricane
Yes.
after you got that?
Yes.
So it would be a change in job responsibilities within the company that you already work for.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're not talking about getting your CDL so you can go get your own rig and take long haul jobs or anything, correct? No. Okay. You're talking about getting some more training so you can promote within Hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And was that opportunity the biggest factor in deciding whether to stay in this area versus moving to Marion County?
Oh, yeah.
And your girlfriend has no intention to move to Marion County, is that correct?
No.
And her daughter is in school here,
Yes.
and her whole family is here, correct? Okay, so that would be another factor of why you wouldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you've been asked some questions about Zoom hearings if this case were transferred to Marion County, correct?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not the court in Marion County accommodates Zoom hearings?
I have no clue.
Okay, but you do know that the court in Ellis County does.
Yes.
Okay, and the court Ellis County has conducted at least one other hearing on this case, correct? Okay. You also mentioned that it would be time out of your day, correct? That's not a factor for Michaela, is it?
No.
You also talked about the delay, and that was one of your concerns in having this moved to another county, correct? Okay. And that you've been concerned about the delay because Ms. Ausler has denied parenting time to you since what date?
It's been 2 weeks.
Okay, so approximately, was it after the snowstorm?
Oh, she allowed? Okay, so after the snowstorm, before the snowstorm, I was able to keep her for 3 days, 3 to 4 days, but ever since then, I haven't seen her.
Okay, you returned her on January 7th
Yes.
after the snowstorm?
Yes.
Okay, and you have not been permitted any parenting time since then?
No. Well, last night.
Judge, I'm going to have to object on the grounds of relevance again. We were on a good track, but now we're starting to litigate custody.
Okay. Again, the only issue right now is the venue question. And I remind counsel, you set this for 60 minutes. We've got about 2 minutes left, and then I've got another hearing.
Okay.
Do we need to schedule a time to finish this hearing? Or do you think we're wrapping it up in 2 minutes?
I
can
could make
be
my
done.
argument in one.
Ms. Park?
Sorry, Ms. Park, I didn't mean to speak over you.
I don't have any other questions.
Do we have any additional witnesses?
No additional witnesses from my side, Judge.
Are you wanting to call witnesses, Ms. Park?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Harrison, your argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, pursuant to 23-22-10, specifically subsection C, the action may be brought in the county in which the child, the mother, or the presumed or alleged father resides. I've already briefed this in my motion. Specifically, it says or is found. That gives the court an opportunity to exercise jurisdiction over transient peoples. And ultimately, if father resides primarily in Russell, that would be a better option, but the best option of all is going to be the residence of both mother and child, and the court's going to have a better opportunity. So mother's primary residence is Marion County, minor child's primary residence is Marion County, and father's primary residence is going to be that of Russell County. So even though the court could extend jurisdiction venue over this on 22-10 subsection C, based on where he is found, it is not going to be the best venue. I'm not denying that the court can exercise jurisdiction over this. I'm simply saying that there are a lot better jurisdictions that this could be litigated in, primarily that of Marion County. Judge Robson regularly permits the usage of Zoom hearings. We've got a good community mediation center for working out parenting issues, and it works a substantial hardship on my client in the event that there is some necessity for a long, drawn-out custodial litigation in Ellis County. Also, with her primary residence being in Marion County, essentially all of the necessary witnesses, child custody investigators, etc., they would be located here locally, where the child goes to school, where the child sees the doctor, etc. Those necessary witnesses would be out of Marion County. So for that reason, Your Honor, I kindly request that the court grant my motion.
Ms. Park?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have filed a detailed response and objection to the motion to change venue. However, I would just point out to the court that the decision about a change of venue is within the court's discretion, and that no matter what decision you make, one venue is going to be inconvenient to one of these parties. And so it's our position that the court should not change venue because this court has already exercised its jurisdiction. The respondent has appeared in person in Ellis County District Court and made no objection to venue at that time. The respondent also had ample opportunity to file an action in Marion County had she wanted one to take place there. She chose not to, and therefore took the risk that Mr. Castleman would file one in a forum that was less convenient for her. I would point out to the court as well that the arguments about convenience of witnesses and so forth are very much moot in either place, because as the court is well aware, you allow appearance of witnesses by Zoom, you allow appearances of parties by Zoom and attorneys by Zoom. So those factors really aren't as much of a consideration as they were prior to COVID. Any witnesses that are relevant to a future custody trial about this child would be able to appear by Zoom and probably less inconvenienced by Zoom appearances. Your Honor, the child herself does not need to appear in court, so that's not a factor. And Ms. Ausler has testified that her attorney's office is 15 minutes away. She can get a ride there. It is not a substantial inconvenience for her to appear at her attorney's office for Zoom hearings in Ellis County. Your Honor, we also would encourage the court to continue to exercise jurisdiction over this case due to the fact that the temporary orders that she put into place in October have not been complied with, and there would be a delay. Whether or not counsel suggests it would be a minor one, there would be a delay in Mr. Castleman getting access to a judge in another county to be able to enforce those orders, and he has not had contact with the child since January 7th. We would just, Your Honor, submit our objection that we filed and ask the court to deny the motion to change venue.
Statute allows the parties to file where they reside, where they can be found. Mr. Castleman did that. He filed in accordance with the statute in the county where he works, where he's at every morning, every evening. Change of venue would be appropriate if there were a place that were very convenient for both, with him residing in Russell and working out of Ellis County. She's residing in Marion County. There is no really convenient forum for both. Either forum is going to have some inconveniences. So Mr. Castleman filed in accordance with state statute in a jurisdiction where he has contact every morning and every evening at work, and there's no reason to change venue at this time. So the court's going to deny the motion because either Marion County, Russell County, or Ellis County provide some hardships for one or the other as far as physical travel. So there is no one place that makes it really convenient for all. That's just not the world that these parties are living in right now. So that being the case, there's no good reason to change venue right now, and the court would have to, or the court would be undoing a lot of what has been done up to this point if venue were changed. So the court's going to deny the motion. Now we're already 5 minutes over. I need to do another hearing. Do we need to schedule something quickly because there's now allegations of, we were going to finish the temporary order from October 21st, and I'm hearing allegations that order is not being followed.
Correct.
Do the parties need to schedule a quick hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Your Honor, it kind of puts me in a difficult position because I'm a limited entry, so I would have to have time to discuss that with my client to decide whether or not she wants to retain my services to litigate that matter or whether she needs to seek separate counsel closer to Ellis County because of the court's ruling.
Okay.
So essentially, if Ms. Park wants to file, I can have a discussion at some point with my client in the near future, and either she can try and seek out new counsel, attempt to represent herself, which obviously I don't recommend, or
Jess, do we have some hearing time or just a scheduling conference Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning?
I'm sorry, when did you say, Judge?
Well, we're closed Monday, so that's not an option. January 21st, 9 a.m. for scheduling. Ms. Park, can you do that over from today?
I will, Your Honor. I'm having trouble hearing you again. It's very
I'm saying,
robotic sounding.
Yeah, it is coming across that way.
The monthly gross income is $23,333. No union dues or medical insurance. The net income is $16,833.75, leaving monthly child support at $1,840.
It appears there was a temporary order in this case that made a finding of Mr. Ward's gross monthly resources to be $2,439 each month. Seems drastically lower than the current amount.
Again, Your Honor, I don't know how they came up with that number, and he's not here. And do you know where Mr. Ward lives?
With his mom?